Good morning or good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're dialing in from. Welcome to this webinar of VaultSpeed. Very happy to do it with Gilles today for the first time.
Hello, everybody. Hi.
We're used to do it with Jonas, but Jonas is on holiday. It's summertime still for some people, some lucky ones.
So thank you for inviting me, Patrick.
Yeah.
I have the pleasure to do this. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. It's going to be fun to do this together.
Yes.
All right. So we decided about a month ago to start talking about the tokens based on our own experience, burning quite a lot of tokens, I must say. And we have experimented in a way that would serve our customers as much as it serves us as well. And we get also all sorts of questions. Where are the tokens coming from? Is it yours? Can it be mine? Can I have a private GPT? Can I have another source of models? Are you bound to one form of intelligence? Or is it all with an AI model, what you're doing? What's left of the software? Is it the same as cloud code? And all those questions are daily stuff for us. Every day we get those questions. So we figured out, let's try to reflect on what are the answers of today to those questions, and maybe in a year from now we will be surprised by our answers, and the world will have moved on. Let's see where we go. But right now we are really in the middle of it, and I think it's a good topic to have and reflect with you guys on the call. So please, we will do some surveys, some polls, take question and answer. Feel free to interact with us through the chat. But without further ado, let's move on.
Yes, thank you, Patrick, for the introduction. So first of all, the first thing we wanted to do before we start with anything is set up a poll, just to get some information. How does your team decide which model runs a task now? Do you already have a model, a policy around this? Do you just take the cheapest model, the most expensive model? Around this, we will have a poll on which we later on will go back to just look back at the answers and maybe know if the idea behind it all changed.
Okay, so the audience will have the opportunity to vote in a form of a survey, and we'll come back on that, on where you stand in this matter of managing the tokens for your team.
Exactly. But we already said it a couple of times, tokens. Now, why would we continue with this presentation without first explaining a bit what tokens are? So AI models, the calculation of cost most likely, and how they taught back to us, it's mostly done with tokens. So token is very simple. It's a chunk of text. You don't need to think too much about it. Roughly 4 characters, 3/4 of a word, not always the same, but around that. So for tokens, you have 2 different kinds of tokens. You have input tokens and output tokens. For input tokens, that are the tokens that your prompt is. Let's say you type a message to Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini. All of these text that you write down is a token. An average cost for tokens is around 25 cents per 1 million tokens for input. That then goes to the model. The model does its work. And this now, the next part is where the real cost climbs up to the output. Output also gets calculated in tokens, the response, but it's more expensive. As you can see, a lot more expensive. An average price of $1 more per 1 million tokens. This means writing in your starter prompt, make the output prompt short, will reduce a lot of money. Instead of making your input prompt short, make the output prompt short. That's the key idea that we have here.
Okay, so you better be precise in your questions such that the answer is brief.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Tell the AI to keep it short, because some of the AIs, they like to talk, and they will repeat the same thing in the output a lot of times. So just tell it, keep it short, please. Don't forget the please, and it will keep it short. So the bill in the end,
Okay.
So the bill gets calculated by the input tokens with the input rate, with the output tokens by the output rate.
Okay, so that's the basics, Gilles.
Very basic.
All right, let's move to the real stuff.
Yes. So the spending.
Yeah. Well, this is a very interesting graph. It comes from Ramp. Ramp is this spend management app. They have quite a unique position. Of course, they are a little bit biased because the cohort of companies they serve are very tech savvy. So it's heavily tilted towards startups and the US, but not only. So spend management software has a unique position in the market. They see all the subscriptions month by month going by. And so they can do macroeconomic trends by anonymizing the data and providing surveys very frequently on where the money is going. And what we see now here is this exponential curve of the top engineering. Most of them are software engineering, I must say, but not only, firms spending so much. And talking about ourselves at VaultSpeed, we are between this top 1% and top 10%. We see our most AI, consumers, our software engineers, some weeks their consumption is equal to their salary. That's interesting because in the beginning of the year, we budgeted the AI cost to be about 10% of payroll. Was an assumption. God knows how much budget we should put on AI in the beginning of 2026. And we are roughly around that number right now, but there's a vast difference between software engineers who can, burn tokens to the extent of doubling the cost of their salary, more or less. Now, the cost is not a problem because if the productivity is there, if we see magic coming out of the software, if all of a sudden VaultSpeed can do things we never dreamed it could do just last year, then we're all good. Our customers will be satisfied, we will grow as a company, so it's not a problem. But then, and that's why also we took this topic as our podcast for today, the Fable 5 fallout that happened in June from the US government removing the access to the latest models. I think the whole planet, the whole economy, the whole people building started thinking, all right, maybe we should pay attention to which model we use and how we use them, and etc. And then when you see the costs of this, I think we are all going to think hard. Are we using these expensive tokens for the right things? If yes, then happy days, no problem, because the productivity is there. But if we are burning and over-burning and cycling and doing again and again the same thing with a very expensive toy, then, people start asking questions. We all have a CFO. So the numbers speak for themselves, I believe, so as to why we're talking about that today.
Yes. So I think I was one of the people who spend a lot of AI inside of VaultSpeed. So we started looking into how can we reduce this cost. Let's say all the most expensive models go out of business. Fable stops, like Patrick said, this was a wake-up call. We should use expensive, cheap models as well, right? An open source model, for example, which we can run on premises. All of these things can be as smart and cheaper than an expensive model. Now, we will show a bit on how this will happen, how we can do this, and what the output could be of a simple model with even the great context around it.
Yes. So you've done a comparison.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, let's dive into it.
Yeah. So this comparison is just between two tasks. So we did two tasks on the same data. So the task was to build a full lineage graph on the same database. So this means the same scope all the time, nothing changed behind the scenes. And maybe a tip for everybody here, we can judge on the completeness of everything, the correctness of edges, which is very important inside of a lineage graph, and clarity, how clear is it, and as well, how beautiful is the UI. That's something we all look at. We don't say it, but we look at it. So we have one lineage explorer right here, which is fully vibe coded. Nothing around it, no context, just write me this lineage explorer for this satellite, and there we stopped. And
Okay.
we let Opus do its thing.
So that would be like download the metadata from VaultSpeed,
Yeah.
throw it into Claude or something like that,
Yeah.
and build a visualizer of my lineage.
Yeah.
Where is my data coming from?
Yeah.
Where does it go? Attribute per attribute with filters.
Yeah.
And you start vibe coding a lineage viewer.
Yeah. No structure, no nothing behind it, no ideas, just do it and
Looks nice though.
It looks nice, but it took almost 30 minutes, I think, around 30 minutes. And it cost me $2, which isn't that much. But as you can see, the output was only 33,000 tokens. This is just a simple HTML file, but it stops here, right? We don't have anything else. We just have this UI. That's it.
Okay, so that's your baseline comparison.
Exactly, exactly. But when we go to the next thing, which is a hybrid build.
What do you mean with hybrid build?
Yes, so a good question, Patrick, with hybrid build. It's something we used where we predefined what we actually need. So we were thinking, okay, we need a lineage explorer built in. How can we do this? We can make an HTML template that we can load in, which has this UI interface, the same color scheme, all these beautiful things. But it also has a skill in the backend, which we can call using an AI agent, which then knows, okay, in the skill it says we use these API calls, we go to this data set, and we input it into this template.
Okay, so you have a hardened UI. Actually,
exactly.
you coded the UI.
Exactly. So we coded the UI also with AI at the start. So the initial cost was maybe a bit higher than the $2, but now every time you run it, it's only 5 to 10 cents, and it only took me 3 minutes. So the time and the cost is so much cheaper. And also one important thing is, let's say we have a full team of data architects, of data engineers who want to see the lineage. And I all ask the same question, but I will all get a different UI. Can we even trust this UI? Because we don't know what's happening behind the scenes. We don't know this data that gets filled in. So we will need to always go into depth, check if everything is correct.
Yeah.
Instead of using already the skill set, the template, it will be always the same, and we know we can trust it because we know what API calls.
So actually what you're saying is that deterministic software is not gone.
Exactly.
It's still there.
Exactly.
It's still there.
Exactly.
Okay.
We just
it plays a role because there's really no point burning tokens, redoing a UI to visualize a lineage.
Exactly.
But it should be a skill or a template in the system.
Yeah, but we can use this UI, and we can use AI in this case to remove the clicking that we normally need to do. We can make it agentic very easy, and we can let it generate.
All right. So that's very trivial. It seems very logical. Seems almost, as I said, trivial. Like, why not do it? But the interesting factor here is that the runtime, because the $2 of the previous slide is every time you ask a lineage viewer.
Exactly.
The model runs on the whole process of building a UI, figuring it out, etc. It makes also a lot of assumptions silently in the background that you will never see.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not even fully reliable. That's where people start having trust issues.
Exactly. And now, Patrick, it's $2, but it worked out fairly easily. But let's say it didn't work out. We need to do reprompting. It can be $10 very easily, right? So the cost is not set as well.
Because we see customers who have 20 or more, up to 100 data engineers, and the bill, if these people are using AI this way the whole day long, not assuming that they would vibe code a lineage viewer every day. But that's what's interesting is the factor is times. It's 24 times cheaper. So happy days for deterministic software, actually.
Exactly.
Married with the AI model. What does the AI exactly do in this deterministic?
In this hybrid build,
the
AI will just read the data that's necessary, the metadata, and it will just load it inside of the template. So as you can see, the output was only 4,000 tokens, which is just the HTML file, and in the backend, and it also has the data loaded. So it just does a filtering, it loads it inside of the template, and that's it.
Okay. And you call it through a chat experience, like you talk to the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Thank you.
No worries. So this is on the software side, right? Because we were talking about HTML, but we are still a data company. So we also have a use case right here where we talk about preparing the context, and we used the use case of a data lake. So let's say we have a data lake, Patrick, full of raw and structured data. Imagine we want everybody at VaultSpeed needs to query it, and they all use a different agent, and they all query it at the same time, and the agent always needs to get the structure correct. So they ask a question, the agent will reparse all the files, the JSONs, everything.
Yeah, that's a question we've had earlier this year when AI came into data engineering. We got the question, do we still need an integration layer? Why don't we go back to the concept of a data lake and let business users figure it out by giving them cloud code and let them build their dashboard out of the raw data? Why would we need an integration layer?
Yeah,
I think that's what you're talking about here.
I understand the question, because if it was new AI for your company, it seems like it can do everything, which it can, but the cost will increase. And let's say you need to reparse all the files again, and it will return you things. You don't need to know, and you don't know if it returns exactly the correct things. So what you can do is, for example, model a data vault. The initial cost would be indeed a bit higher, but it will create structure behind the things that your AI agent will use. So it will create a source of truth. It won't change. The AIs won't change it because it will only read it. And the most important thing is it creates structure. It creates something on which the agents, instead of doing 100 steps to reach that table, they only need to do 2 or 3 because the links are very clear.
Okay. So we're back to similar argument, like deterministic software is not gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Still the faster and cheaper way to deliver a UI once you know what you want.
Yeah.
And here, once you know what you want, building an integration layer is also a massive source of savings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
And you saw the same point, actually.
Yeah, but AI is not fully out of the case to create integration layer, of course, and to create the software like the interface that we showed earlier. It can still be used to create the HTML files or the structure of the data vault, or it can be used to work with VaultSpeed, for example, in an agentic way to make things faster.
Yeah, that's what we're doing now. We're doing all the source analysis, the parsing of documents, reading transcripts, exporting stuff from a modeling software if you have an old Power Designer somewhere.
Yeah, that's the power. It can read everything if you give it context, and it's why we still use it to build things as well. We don't only use it to read things, for example, but we use it to build as well.
All right. So this is an argument to build determinism in the system.
Yes.
Be it the software system or the data system. Okay, that's what creates trust. And by the way, it's more efficient, better for the planet, better for the budget, less tokens, everybody happy.
It's a win-win.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Gilles.
No worries.
So what have we seen here?
So what we're seeing now is we use the skills as an investment. This is a sentence I really like, because we invest money, time into creating these skills. That's why when you look at the chart, you will see the cheap model plus skill line, it starts at a higher price. We spend a bit more to create what we want to use as a base, instead of the $6 in this example, to just freestyle it, let it happen. But as you can see on the third run, we are already above break even, which means the cheap model plus a skill, Patrick, it goes very slowly up.
And remember, it's just one task, one engineer. You need to multiply that by,
exactly
5 days a week,
exactly
20 people, a team, and then that's how you come into the millions.
Yeah.
Now, at VaultSpeed, we're creating those systems.
Yeah. So indeed, at VaultSpeed, we are creating a full experience with skills, with agents, on which we can query VaultSpeed itself, VaultSpeed Core. We can create data vaults. We can even do things outside of data vault now. As you know, Patrick. So source analysis, all these sorts of things, data products, all with skills made for that specific example.
Okay, so we're trying to make the life of our customers easier
and cheaper
by preparing it and hardening and having this hybrid environment where you still have good old software, fully deterministic. When it comes to generating a data vault, for example, there's no need for AI to do this. We were doing that 10 years ago already, but everything around it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So
Okay.
that's the end product we want to achieve, right? The full black line, not the dotted line, but the black line is what we want to achieve in the end when we work agentic.
Okay. So if people on this call are confronted to exponential bills, and these are good ideas to reflect on, are we investing enough in hardening some of the things that keep being repeated by power users? We have this notion now. We used to have shadow IT. Now we have shadow AI, like power users and business analysts using AI to redo the same thing across the board. So, you know, there's still a case to be made for hardening all of that into a deterministic system, be it on the front end, be it on the data side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay.
So that's where you landed in terms of conclusion for your too little experience for today. So what else do we have?
So I think one of the most biggest challenges that we have in this entire story. So we now have like the golden thread is that we use skills, we use agents as context, so we can provide a better base for the AI model to work on. I think one of the most important things and the hardest things to do is find out what are the skills that we can make, what are the things that are very repetitive. And that is something on which you really, as a data engineer, for example, in my case, need to pay attention to. What are the things that I'm doing daily? Start making skills about it. Start making IDs, agents, and group them all together. And in the end, you have something which can make your life a lot easier and the life of your boss also a lot easier because the bills will be a bit less. So I think that's also something which I wanted to close with and say with that is something that really needs to be paid attention to.
Okay. Shall we look at the survey?
I think so. I think that's the next step. So we will revisit where we started. And then we see at the survey. So there is one outlier, Patrick, a big one. So I think the main outlier is that it depends on the task / the person.
Yeah.
Which is a really good answer, which I'm happy to see. So the main thing that we wanted to achieve with this presentation, with this webinar, is that people understand what's underlying, so and what the end goal needs to be. So that's all depending on the task, of course. So it's good that that this is the response that we get.
Yeah, I think everybody sees it now. We're beyond understanding. It's more about sharing, you know, concrete examples and where we are in our thinking and what we're building here at VaultSpeed, really building in that direction of being reasonable with AI and using it in a most deterministic way everywhere we can to avoid hallucination. Because also we serve regulated customers, banks, insurance, and other forms of corporate that are very picky on, you know, can we trust this system and will it produce the same result again and again and again? Because many people need the same thing.
Yes.
All right. Cool. Thank you very much, Gilles. So
Thank you.
What next?
So the next would be just a final slide with the key takeaway. So our key takeaway is match the model to the task, not budget, which means keep in mind even the cheapest models can do the best things if they have a great context around them, a great skill, which you can use more expensive models. So a higher initial cost doesn't mean in the end it will be more expensive than a cheaper model, an expensive model, excuse me.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Gilles. I think a lot of that depends on the context and where we source the context and how we build it. And that would be a segue for the next webinar. So maybe we can advance and talk about that for a second.
Of course.
I'm very happy to host our next webinar at Colibra in Brussels, in Belgium. That's going to be the 17th of September. And we are going to talk with Stan in US terms, is co-founder of Colibra. We're both Belgians, Yeah, so we're from the same country. We know one another for years. I really look forward to having this conversation with him because he's taking it from the governance layer, and we're taking it more from the execution layer, where VaultSpeed has always been an automation software. So how do we match the two? Where do we source the context? How do we feed what we're doing to the thing, right? I see a sign from production in the background that there are questions that I haven't seen yet. So what are the questions?
Yes.
Are you paying token costs to rediscover the same structure over and over? No, we don't want to do this. I mean,
That's a bad thing, Patrick.
that's a bad thing. Now, everybody understands that intuitively, but if you're a team, you have multiple segments of the business, different people, different locations. How do you prevent that this happens?
Exactly. So this means we need to, when we make a skill, we need to share with the team that we've made something which they also can use. So for example, a GitHub repository with a lot of skills is something which is golden in its generation because it's a knowledge base, it reduces cost, and no duplicate skills will be made. If we go back to the lineage view, for example, let's say you have a big team of 30 persons. If 5 of them make the lineage view, it's a waste of money because only one of them needs to make it.
Yeah.
Other people can adapt it if they want.
Okay, so that's interesting. I've been in software, as you can see from my face, I guess, for quite some time, and there are things that keep coming back. Here, it's the topic of collaboration, and there's this new asset called agents and skills and harnesses and context that needs to be shared among people building data systems. So how do you do this? And that's exactly the problem we're working on.
Yeah.
At VaultSpeed, how do you do it at scale, in a secure way,
Exactly.
and being reasonable with the tokens budget? Okay. So I look forward to the next one. The next one will be with Stan, as I said, and I look forward to seeing you again on the 17th of September. It's going to be an interesting. Stan is a fun guy, so I look forward to doing this with him. And thank you very much for your attention. It was great to do
Thank
this.
you.
Thank you, Gilles,
Thank you,
for
Patrick.
standing in.
Thank
And
you.
wish you a very good rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.